Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are talking about the Eagles' dominant win over the Tennessee Titans. In case you guys didn't know, the final score was 10-35. Philadelphia Eagles coming out on top, baby. They look like the champs right now. My birds, they are looking like the champions right now, baby. A.J. Brown and his revenge game absolutely torched this Titans secondary. We're going to be talking about that. But before we talk about that, guys, I want to tell you to subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Randy the Great blogs. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitch at Randy the Great Podcast. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. So, starting off with obviously the Philadelphia Eagles MVP, Jalen freaking Hurts. Jalen Hurts so far, currently, while I'm filming this, the Chiefs and Bengals game is still underway. But so far, Jalen Hurts has had the best week possible. Or the best week out of every quarterback in the NFL. Anyway, 74% completion percentage, 380 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was that pure pocket quarterback that I said he needed to be in my video from earlier today. Make sure, you guys don't really need to check that out, but make sure you give it a like. Being that pure pocket quarterback that we need to be, give some credit to the offensive line, but I'll get into that a little later. He avoided taking hits. When he was running and when he had to get out of the pocket. He threw the ball away when necessary, and he did a great job of finding open receivers and fitting the ball in tight windows. My only complaint is that there were a few passes that he threw the stole over the middle that were a little low. I think on the second drive, when the Eagles went 3 and out, there he threw that pass a little low to Devontae Smith on that corner route. Really the only problem I have, but he still completed 74% of his passes. Can't really ask for much better than that. Miles Sanders, not the greatest of game in his life, only averaged 2.4 yards per carry. But I think that's a lack of preparation for the run game today. Obviously, the Eagles were more focused on the pass because the Titans have the 31st best secondary in the NFL. That's the second worst right now. So, yeah. And speaking of my receiving, what happened with my Batman? Holy moly, I feel like we went back to the Washington game. A.J. Brown, he finally realized who he is. He used his speed, his high vertical, and his power to torch statistically the second worst secondary in the NFL. He ran his curl routes right, slant routes right, and once again, I keep saying it, that 1 foot, where receivers, they're running routes, and then they fake here, but then they pop in here. That is like, that 1 foot can change a whole play. He ran a slant route right, corner, what else was there? Out routes correctly. I think he got 2 out routes, a few slants, a few curls, and I think it was 1 corner route. I'm not too sure. But ran his routes beautifully. Any route that he was told to run, he did. He also got a lot, he had 10 targets to 8 catches for 10 targets. So he was getting a lot of his passes, and I really like that. Let's see, anything else that I had to say? One last thing about him. I'm glad he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against his former team. You obviously love to see it. Tennessee, after this game, I think they're the stupidest team in football for trading A.J. Brown away. I mean, who are they paying that they can't give A.J. Brown $100 million like the Eagles did? I don't really know. Devontae Smith. Schmitty, what happened, brother? Skinny Batman. Today was nothing but greatness for you. On that first drive, he had around 3 catches and a touchdown. What are we doing here? He ran that route beautifully against. He ran that the post route beautifully on that touchdown. What are we doing? There's not really any deep analysis I can really give. He just ran his routes right, especially that corner route. There's a few of those where he caught that. And once again, that 1 foot can change everything. On those corner routes, looked like he was running a post, then he ran a corner. Absolutely beautiful game from Devontae Smith. I cannot say enough. And when I'm writing these notes, I feel like, I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I feel like I'm just not writing enough, man. I'm not saying enough about them. I'm giving my analysis, and, I'm trying to go as deep as I can, but I just can't, I feel like it's not enough, you know what I mean? And we're moving on to fast Batman Quez Watkins. Once again, he's always catching his targets. He had 5 catches on 6 targets, so he's making a lot of catches. I'm really liking it. He ran his crossing routes beautifully, and he helped the Eagles off the penalties when the Eagles really needed it. The bottom line for the receivers, everyone got involved. Even the running backs. I know Gainwell had a few catches. Sanders had a few as well. Stoll, he had a few, which was good. So he's playing solid while Goddard's out. I think the backup even had a 20-yard pass. That was really good. I can't say his name, number 81. And speaking of penalties from the offensive line that I just mentioned a second ago, what the hell was going on offensive line? Now listen, I'll talk about the good first. The pass blocking was incredible. I don't think I've ever seen it better in this year. I mean, nobody even got close to Hurts. The only times they really got close is when the receivers weren't able to get open, and obviously the offensive line can't block forever. And minus the 2 holding calls, it was great. It was absolutely amazing. The run blocking, there really was no plays designed for the run blocking, so you can't really put any blame on the offensive line there. But the false start penalties. I mean, everybody but Sayamalo got a penalty on the Eagles' offensive line. I think there was some stat where coming into this game, the Eagles only had 4 false start penalties in the last 9 games, and today they had about 5 or 6. I don't understand what the problem was. It's clear they didn't show up for class at Stoutland University today. I'll give them credit though. In the second half, they picked it up a little. It was definitely a lot better. I think there was only 1 false start in the second half, but you can't do that with this amount of penalties going into the playoffs. I mean, if we played against Dallas, Minnesota again, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, teams like those, if we had those penalties in the first half, they would torch us. It would be unbelievable. But they picked it up in the second half, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for that. We're moving on to my defense. God set down this defense today. That like they said in The Last Dance, that was not my defense. That was God in disguise. First off, and what happened to the run game today? I mean, they shut Henry down. I don't know if just Henry though is in a slump or if the Eagles D-line is that good, but we're always going to give credit to the winning team first. Sue and Joseph did a great job of clogging up that middle. And the rush by T.J. Edwards and Marcus Epps, where they would come in and they did the same thing. They would cover gaps where they thought Henry was going to go. They did a really good job of that. We're not going to discredit the run game today. They had an absolutely beautiful game. And they didn't just slow Henry down. They shut him down. I don't want to hear anything about it. They shut him down. He averaged, 2.4 yards per carry? I think it was somewhere around there. Let me see. I think I have the stat. 2.7 yards per carry. My apologies. Yada, yada. So he ran more through the A-gap, so whoever was on that side or the linebacker got there really quickly. So great play calling from Jonathan Gannon this week. I'll give him credit. Normally I'm pretty critical to Jonathan Gannon, but I think he did pretty well. Also give some credit to Shane Steichen. I normally give a lot of criticism to them, but today they did a really good job. Yada, yada, yada. Like I said, Sue and Joseph made their presence known. They couldn't get, they couldn't really get through Sue. I don't think they really wanted to. It looked like Henry was kind of hesitating to run through him, so, that's obviously really good for when we play teams with high-powered running offense. I think we're facing the Giants next or something like that. I think we're playing the Giants next. I don't even remember. How do I not remember? I think we're playing the Giants, right? Yeah, we're playing the Giants next week. Giants, Bears, Cowboys. Oh, wait a minute. We play the Giants week 18. I didn't see that game. Okay, moving on. Where was I next? We're going to the linebacker. Oh, no. Sorry, we're not going to the linebacker. We're going to the pass rush. The pass rush was out of this world. Reddick, Sweat, Graham, a little bit of Fletcher Cox. They did a great job. Well, the end guys I'm going to talk about first. They did a great job of just, running to Tannehill, whether it was a pass or a run. That's what I said before the game. Just run to him. It doesn't matter if it's a pass or a run. They run a lot of play action, this team. So you just got to run no matter what. So they did a great job of that. So we're talking about individual players now. Josh Sweat, he started off pretty bad. He got that offside penalty. I was a little frustrated. He's making $10 million a year. You can't really be doing that. That did lead to a Titans touchdown. Then he picked it up. It was just completely speed. He ran around the tackles like it was nobody's business. He didn't even need to use power. He just ran. So that was really good. He did really good in that category. Yada, yada, yada. Brandon Graham next. BG, what happened? Who was BG this week? Holy moly. He applied so much pressure to Ryan that, I don't even know. He had a sack. What happened today? I think he had a tackle for loss, too. I'm not too sure. I don't remember that, but I think he did. Reddit. What the hell was that? It's either he's on something or he woke up. He just absolutely powered, and I mean powered, down that offensive line. It was nothing but just hand movement, pushing him back. He was really physical. So yeah, did really good there. Yada yada yada. Yeah, great hand movement to the tackles. Fletcher Cox, even though he didn't do that much, he did have a sack. And when Reddick, when he like switched his position when he was on the outside, and he cut into the inside like this, Cox would take the outside, and he did a great job of making Tannehill did not get to the did not get to run on the outside after he did it twice and got the first downs there in the first quarter. Yada yada yada. So yeah, he also did some stuff to hold down Derrick Henry, so that was really good. And stuff like this, I was just talking about, it's not really going to show up in the stat sheet, but it will show up in the film room, so that's pretty good there. We're going to move on to my linebackers. TJ Edwards, once again, another solid game, second most tackles on the team for today. He was a part of that cavalry that shut down Derrick Henry, making sure to fill those gaps. It's a shame that Kazir White got hurt. He seemed all right. I think he'll be back. But we got to see a little bit of Kobe Dean. I was really excited when he came in there. They hyped him up as, a really great player, and I was excited to see him in there. He played amazing. He had a tackle for loss. And every play that was like under 5 yards, he would be there to make the play. I mean, I think there was one play where they passed my country. Tannehill passed it to the backup tight end. I'm not sure of his name. And Dean was like in the middle of the field, and he sprinted all the way to the end of the field to make that tackle and made sure he didn't get the first down. So that was really good there. Yada, yada, yada. And it also shows how deep the Eagles secondary is. I'm sorry, the Eagles team is. I was just about to get into the secondary. About the secondary, they shut down everybody. There was nobody that was not shut down. I don't think Burks had a catch before he got into concussion. Obviously, we don't want to see anybody get injured, but it helped the Eagles win. So, I don't really know. Everybody's going to give credit to the run stopping because they did a really great job today. I'm not discrediting the run defense at all. They did a really good job. But we also got to give a huge credit to the secondary. Titans could barely go through the Eagles on the pass. There was like no chance. The only time they did something on the pass was about a 2-yard pass run for another 7. The only reason they got that first touchdown was because of the fact that Tannehill was able to use his legs, and then he made a nice pass to Burks to the end zone. Whatever. They couldn't get through Bradbury or Slay to save their lives because they were shutting down everybody. I think they went to Bradbury once, and he just completely shut down that play. It was amazing defense. I don't know where it was in the game, but I just remember it. Slay, they didn't even go to him. He was just shutting down everybody. So the secondary was so good that it forced the Titans to run, which obviously the Eagles had prepared for, so they were able to use their plays to shut down Henry. So let's give some credit to the secondary there. The bottom line, I think you're the best team in the NFL right now. Jalen Hurts, I think he's second in MVP voting. I think number 1 is Mahomes right now. And you just shut down the best running back in the NFL. So it seems to be that all your weaknesses are pretty much gone. Not all of them, but you've kind of cleared them up. You kind of cleared them up a little bit. A little bit about the Titans. Tannehill, he did what he could for any QB that's kind of like him, a guy that is more focused on handing the ball off than passing the ball. Not really many quarterbacks could pass on this Eagles secondary. And the only reason they got that touchdown was because of his legs and that the Eagles were not covering the ends on those plays. So what are you going to do? Henry was completely shut down. It didn't matter what gap he ran through. He could have ran above the Eagles and he wouldn't have gotten anywhere. He was shut down an average of a terrible 2.7 yards per carry. That is not Derrick Henry, and I'm hoping we see better Derrick Henry because obviously we'd love to see what he can do. The receivers couldn't get past the Eagles to save their lives. The Eagles secondary could have been laying on the ground and just sitting there, and they wouldn't be able to get past, and they wouldn't be able to get a catch. That's how bad the receivers were. The defense couldn't keep up with the Eagles receiving core and made the Titans really look that stupid for trading A.J. Brown. They couldn't defend A.J. Brown no matter what route he ran. I talked about him a little earlier. The bottom line, you got to get Burks back from concussion protocol. Obviously now, because of that Tua Tagovailoa injury, anybody that's going to be evaluated for concussion protocol is not going to come back into the game. Henry's got to get out of this slump. There's a stat where the past 3 games he's only averaged 50 yards per carry or somewhere around there. And he got 24 yards, so that was even worse. And this secondary needs to wake up. They're the 31st best secondary in the NFL, and they just got absolutely torched by the Eagles secondary. They had 380 yards passed on them. Absolutely terrible day from them, so they got to pick it up. longer reaction video than normal. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Ryan the Great blogs. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitch at Ryan the Great Podcast. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.